We're on the road with Mickey, we're gonna have some fun. Regardless of the rain or sun, our trip has just begun. So buckle up, let's go, we're about to start the show. And maybe if you like us, you'll see where else we'll go. Hi everybody, I'm Sophie, he's Mike, and she's Brenda, and welcome to On the Road with Mickey. If you're returning for another adventure with us, welcome back. We are so glad you have returned safely, and if this is your first episode with us and you're new here, welcome. It's so nice to meet you, and I'm going to show you the reins today. First up, we have our Cheddar from the Big Cheese, which is basically our Disney news snippets. And then after that, we have our feature topic, which is what we talk about for most of the episode. And then after that, we have our This Day in Disney History, brought to you by me. And after that is our game of Who's Who, and that is brought to you by Mike, my dad. Oh, fair warning, I'm almost never wrong when it comes to this game. I almost always win it. And then after that, Brenda will be giving us a quote from the big man himself, Walt Disney, and it's just going to be amazing. So buckle up, keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the car at all times. Make sure you're safe, fasten your seatbelts, all that good stuff. And we will see you on the road. It's time to get going. Let's go!
Hey everyone, I'm Mike and she's Sophie.
And she's Brenda.
Hi, everyone.
And he's Grogu. And we're on the road with Mickey. This is season 2, episode 29 for July 19th, 2021. And our feature topic this week is our favorite Disney ride backstories. And this is a piggyback from last week when we talked about our pre-shows that we decided this made a great segue into the backstories because, when it comes to Disney, a ride's a ride, but at Disney, at any theme park, a ride is just a ride. But at Disney, it's the backstory that really makes the ride.
For sure.
And that's really what sets Disney's rides apart from everything else. And so we thought it'd be fun to go over our favorites. And of course, we always start with our cheddar from the big cheese. And Brenda, I've got you down first. You want to start us off?
Yes, and without anybody knowing it, tonight's news stories are brought to you by Hershey, because I'm going to be eating one in a second while we're talking. Hello, Hershey bars. All right, rock on.
Well, dang it. Now I want to go get some, famous Amos cookies to sponsor me.
And I'm drinking water.
Good job, Mike.
You know what? No.
It's like my yearly quota. It's my time for one yearly bottle of water, so.
That's good. You got to drink that water, especially after Hershey, because it makes you thirsty.
Oh, doesn't it
And
though?
I'm being sponsored by McDonald's strawberry banana smoothie.
Now, that is just wrong. Well, on to the real news. Disney has recently released information on the holiday season at Walt Disney World. Starting November 8th, on select nights will be Disney's very merriest after hours party. And this is going to take the place of Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. Sunset Season's Greetings is also returning to Disney's Hollywood Studios. Yay!
Yay!
And Santa will be bringing some North Pole cheer to a motorcade down Hollywood Boulevard as well. Also, Disney's Animal Kingdom is going to have festive seasonal decor and festive Disney character flotillas sailing down Discovery River to the sounds of joyful songs of the season. There will also be a holiday edition of the Tree of Life Awakenings.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And other holiday events include the Epcot International Festival of the Holidays, which is going to run from November 26th through December 30th. Right now, though, we don't have any word on whether or not Candlelight Processional will be part of the festival.
I hope so.
I hope so too. And what do you think, Brenda? Yay or
I hope
nay?
so. I hope so. They're probably working on feverishly trying to get narrators, and it's going to be maybe harder this year to get narrators to commit, but I don't think so. I think everything's going to move on up, and we're going to be good.
Okay, good. And that takes us to Sophie, who has one other item.
One final item for the holidays this year regarding the Disney resorts. From the Disney Parks blog, our Disney resort hotels will be decked for the holidays with iconic trees and other seasonal touches. And a guest favorite will return this year as select gingerbread displays will once again be part of our holiday season.
Yay!
We're all excited about that.
Yes.
And, we missed seeing
Yay.
the one at the Grand Floridian last year because it wasn't there. So we're certainly hopeful that it's there. I imagine it would be. I don't know why
think
it
it's going to be
wouldn't
there.
be. So
And for those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, which if you don't have an idea of what we're talking about, shame on you. Have you not been watching?
well,
They may not have visited during the holidays. Last year I was at the yacht club and there were no Christmas decorations in the lobby for the first time ever.
Well, yeah, but it's still sad.
It
And
was
do you have a
sad.
picture of the gingerbread house, Sophie?
Yeah, I'm looking for one right now. Hang on. Open image in a new tab. There we go. Okay, come on.
Share and share alike. Sharing is caring. Look at
Here,
that, people.
you see it?
Beautiful.
That is so cool.
So beautiful.
It is a huge gingerbread house, and there are
Indeed.
actually people inside of it.
That's right, because there's a store inside of it where you can buy gingerbread things.
Yes,
Oh,
I bought a
they're
giant solid chocolate snowman. It's
Oh
not
God, that
gingerbread.
sounds really
It was
good.
so delicious, and it lasted me like a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yes.
So
Anyway,
glad.
that
Yay!
that finishes up our cheddar from the big cheese. So let's move on to our feature topic. Just remember, check out the show notes for the ways you can connect to our Facebook and YouTube and our group and Instagram and our email and our phone number, okay?
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, our feature topic is our favorite Disney ride backstories. And like I said, when it comes to Disney, what makes a ride a Disney ride is the backstory. So this list is our favorite Disney backstories that we really enjoy for countless reasons.
Yeah.
Because Disney's the best.
Yeah. And we are going to go round table, and we each have a group that we wanted to talk about. And Sophie, you're starting us off, kiddo.
Yay.
All right. Well, I'm going out of order in the way that it's listed in the show notes because I have them all ranked from how hyped I am to share these with
Oh,
you.
wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Overachiever.
Are you sharing your most hyped or your least hyped?
Least hyped right now.
Oh.
Most hype is the best, so save the best for last.
Okay, gotcha.
And my least hyped right now is actually one of the rides that I really, really enjoy, especially in the hot weather like this, and that is Splash Mountain. Now, I know that Splash Mountain is very controversial, and they are retheming it soon, which is one of the reasons why I'm putting it as my least hyped ride, just because it's going to be changing from its story will be changing. The ride itself will not be changing very much, but it's going to be rethemed to The Princess and the Frog. And we don't know what the name of that ride will be yet, but as it stands, Splash Mountain is going to be changed.
Yeah.
Now, the reason that it's going to be changed is because of the story that it was based off of. And that story comes from the movie The Song of the South. Now, that is a very highly controversial movie. It was banned, actually. You can't see it in very many places. But I do think that some of the parts of the story of the movie, there were stories there, and they held good lessons to be learned, most of which was be happy with what you have and always try to find a smile in a bad situation.
Mhm.
And those are the two themes that we see a lot in Splash Mountain, mainly in the laughing place and the fact that Brer Rabbit in the ride, he actually goes away from his home looking for something else, only after he meets up with Brer Fox and almost gets killed, he goes right back to his home where it's safe and he's happy there because he's learned a valuable lesson.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. He learned the Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz lesson, didn't he?
Yeah,
Mhm.
there is
There's
no
no
place
place
like
like
home.
home.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yep. So
That's
that's my
great.
yeah, that's my lore for Splash Mountain, and it's the same in the Disneyland ride as well.
Yeah.
So that's that.
Great job, Sophie.
And you
Thank
know
you.
what, Sophie? I applaud you for tackling that one
Me too.
because that's a tough one to talk about.
It
It
is.
But
is.
even though it's changing, now we have a historical record that'll be on YouTube and in our podcast. So anytime anyone wants to remember what it was like after it's changed, they can listen, you know?
Yes.
So
That's right. Great job, Sophie.
good job, honey.
Thank you. And I actually, as much as I love the original Splash Mountain, just because of tradition and all that stuff, and because it doesn't have any of the well, themes that made the movie it was based off so controversial and need to be banned, I'm very excited to see what they do with the Princess and the Frog theming that it will be taking on later in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you could make the argument even if the movie wasn't controversial, you could make the argument that it was time for an update,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Time
So,
for Tiana to have her own ride.
yeah.
Yep. She's a princess. She deserves
Yep.
this.
Yeah.
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 All right, Brenda, you're up.
Oh, well,
What do
I did
you
not order mine like Sophie did. I'm just starting with the first one in the list.
Okay.
So that one is happens to be my favorite ride of all time.
So maybe
Just
it is ordered.
coincidence.
Maybe it is in order.
And it's the Tower of Terror, in case anyone listening did not know. The Tower of Terror is the bomb. It's fantastico. And it is based on a backstory that is about the Hollywood Tower Hotel. It is a 12-story tower built within the view of the famous Hollywood sign in Hollywood Hills. It opened in 1928 and became a star in its own right, a beacon for the show business elite, which you hear when you go into the ride. The top floor housed a first-class restaurant and dance hall, the Tip Top Lounge. So
Oh.
in the 1930 in actually in 1939, the main elevators were out of order. 5 people with very different backgrounds boarded a maintenance elevator in the tip to on the way to the Tip Top Club, bound for the lower floors. Sally Shine was a child star before Shirley Temple graced the movie scene with more than 20 short films to her name. Emmeline Partridge was Sally's nanny. She was very protective of her, keeping fans at bay. Caroline Crossan was a glamorous aspiring actress, and Gilbert London was one of her many male admirers. The fifth and final unlucky passenger was Dewey Todd Jr. Although his father, Dewey Todd Sr., had built the Hollywood Tower Hotel, the junior Dewey worked as a bellhop, perhaps to work his way up in his father's business. At some time during the short ride, lightning hit the hotel just where the elevator shaft was located, causing the elevator to plunge down uncontrollably. All
Wow.
the occupants of the elevator were killed on impact. Hotel management removed the bodies in secret to avoid the prying eyes of the reporters, and Dewey Todd Sr. immediately closed the doors of the hotel. It's said that the ghosts of all 5 passengers still haunt the property to this day. I've seen them.
I have too. I got a picture of them.
Yeah, you
Ooh.
did.
Oh yeah, it's actually a really funny story. It's like a really, really, really funny story. Okay, so what happened was it was my first time in the Tower of Terror, and I took my parents with me. And my dad, he had his
Probably a
camera
good thing
around
because
his
you were
neck.
like 7. So
Well,
thanks for
yeah,
taking us.
Yeah.
I would have taken just mommy if we knew that you wouldn't like it. Basically, so you had your camera with the loop around your neck, and it was sitting in your lap, and you didn't think to hold on to it.
No,
So
I
when
didn't.
we went up and then we dropped down, the camera was above your head. And obviously, as
It
soon as
freaked
we,
me out.
it really did. And then as soon as we get off, well, obviously I wanted to go again.
Yay.
And that
That's my girl
kid,
right there,
Brenda,
right
that
there.
girl wrote it 3 times in a row.
Good girl.
The third time she said, I think I've had enough.
Yeah. But
There does come a point where you've had enough.
the second time, my dad was prepared. And this time,
That was the
when
next
we,
year, honey. I didn't write it a second time that day. That was the next year
well,
before I wrote it again.
well, the second time you wrote it again, you were prepared and you had your camera in your hands and it was just like click, 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 click
Yep.
all the
So you
way.
got a picture of every single thing about that ride.
Every
Yeah.
single frame of movement.
Yeah.
Probably could take all those pictures and make an animation of it.
You probably
Maybe.
could.
Maybe.
Do you still have them?
Of course.
Give
Oh
him
my
to
goodness.
me.
Okay, we'll talk about that off air.
Yeah. Sounds like a
Okay.
good project for Sophie.
All
Yeah.
right.
So is it
Yay.
my turn?
It is your turn, Mike.
Well, I'm going to preface my choices by saying that a lot of my choices, listening audience, are going to end up being more historical than backstory. But I feel like there's a backstory even in the history. And so let's see if I can pull it off.
Good. I bet you
My
can.
The first one I'm going to talk about is the Disneyland Railroad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
It was opening day, July 17th, 1955 is when it opened. It was originally called the Santa Fe and Disneyland Railroad because it was sponsored by the Atchison, Topeka, and the Santa Fe Railroad at the time. Um, the idea for the Disneyland Railroad was conceived by Walt Disney himself because he had his backyard miniature railroad that was called the Carrollwood Pacific Railroad, and he drew inspiration from that in coming up with the layout and the idea of having a railroad, and that's how the Disneyland Railroad kind of got its being. Um, 2 of Walt's 9 old men were very instrumental in helping in the design of the railroad, and they were Ollie Johnston and Ward Kimball because they were both railroad enthusiasts. And I think, if I remember correctly, wasn't it Ward Kimball that went to Chicago with Walt for some business trip, and they really got it? That's where he got involved and really got an appreciation for the trains, where he started to develop a love. I don't know.
It probably was Ward Kimball.
I think it was, but I might be wrong on
Yeah.
that. Um, there are 5 locomotives in the Disneyland Railroad. The first 4 were all named after former CEOs of the Atchison, Topeka, and the Santa Fe Railroad. And the first one, there were 2 on opening day: the C.K. Holiday and the E.P. Ripley. And those both opened on July 17th, 1955. The Fred Gurley opened or premiered at Disneyland Railroad on March 28th, 1958. The Ernest S. Marsh on July 25th, 1959. That's my sister's birthday, even though
Oh,
she
awesome.
wasn't born yet, but it's still her birthday. And then way on in 2005, June 25th, 2005, the Ward Kimball was introduced in honor of Ward Kimball.
The man, yeah.
In honor of
Awesome.
her. It, like I said, most of it is history, but a lot of it is really cool because the way I think about it, I kind of connect the dots a little bit. And, you know, we had Oswald and we had the unfortunate situation where Walt lost the rights to Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. And
Yeah.
and
Turned out to
then
be a blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then on the way back, he's riding the train, and that's when he comes up with Mickey Mouse, you
That's
know?
right.
And as a kid, if I
Mhm.
remember correctly, I think he had a relative that worked for the railroads. And so I think that played a role in his appreciation for him. And all these little things add up, you know, to
Yeah.
what came about and became the Disneyland Railroad, you know? So to me, that's almost like it's not a made up story, a backstory, but it's like a
Yeah.
real life backstory.
True.
And
Yeah.
so that's why I think that it really does kind of come into play a little bit. So that's what I have for my first choice, the Disneyland.
Yay. Bravo.
Nice.
Love it.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Sophie, we're back to
Sophie.
you. What are you going to talk about next?
All right.
And where is this on the coolness factor?
This one is sorta hyped. It's not nearly as hyped as my top 2
Okay.
because those 2 are there's a plot twist coming. I'm going to warn you right now. There's a plot twist
Okay.
and it's going to blow your minds.
Oh,
Okay.
awesome. Those are good.
So,
But this one is not part of that plot twist.
okay.
And that is Le Grand Fiesta Tour starring the 3 Caballeros.
Awesome.
Anyone who knows my movie watching habits knows that I love old Disney movies.
Yeah.
Old Disney movies. Old Disney movies. Especially one that came out in 1944. It was heavily influenced by surrealism and also featured 3 avian characters. And their names were Donald Duck, Jose Carioca, and depending on the source that you look at, Panchito Pistoles or Panchito Romero Mieco Impero Francisco Quintero Gonzalez.
Depending on which song you're singing. And that movie was called?
The 3 Caballeros, which the ride is
Yay.
based off of, that is where the entire ride comes from. It is set as a continuation of the origin story of our avian trio, as I call them. And the movie starts as this. Picture this. It is Donald Duck's birthday, Friday the 13th, which is not his actual birthday according to history, but it is in the movie. Friday the 13th. And his friends, whom he hasn't met yet, I don't think, he's pen pals with them, they have decided to give him for his birthday adventures all across Latin America, even going as far south as Antarctica and as far north as Mexico, which is still south for Donald since he's in America.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the origin story. And the ride itself takes place after this origin story, as I said, and Donald has gone missing once again.
Oh, goodness.
Flown the coop somewhere and is now enjoying his time exploring Mexico more and more.
And trying to get a little closer to some of the ladies, of course.
Just like he did in the movie. The
Just
movie
like
was
he
set
did
in
in the movie.
1944. You have to be patient with the customs back then.
That's true.
Hashtag feminism.
Oh boy.
So yes,
Grace
that's
is the
what,
5-letter word.
Yes.
yeah, that's what Donald's doing. And Panchito and Jose are obviously looking for him. And the thing about the ride is that you can tell it and the movie are similar and related to each other. And the way I see this the most is the fact that a lot of scenes in the movie take place using scenes like filming loops, and they're of real places, and they animate the characters into these real places. And
Mhm.
that is seen both in the movie and in the ride, and it's very interesting to me. Also,
Yeah.
fun fact, did you know that La Grande Fiesta Tour is actually a year younger than the next ride that I'm going to talk about?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it aired in 2007, which is very young if you ask me. What was there before it?
I don't remember,
I don't either.
but there was something there before.
Oh yeah, and
It was a boat ride like this one.
I
I just
always
can't
thought
remember
it
the name
was
of it.
I
I
always
can't
thought
either.
that before La Grande Fiesta Tour, the thing that was in the Mexico Pavilion had to be like a super scary roller coaster, and I was scared to death of that pavilion beforehand. I would never, ever, ever go in it. You had to drag me in there.
It was a boat ride of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. That's good, Sophie.
Yep.
Yay.
All right. Miss Brenda,
So on to
your
my
turn.
next one. My next one on my list is Big Thunder Mountain Railroad.
There you go.
Ooh.
Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, just have to say, it's changed a few times. I'm going to go to the original backstory because it's changed a few times. Just, I could be here all day long talking about every additional change. So we're
Yeah.
just going to go to the original story. There's a legend about Big Thunder Mountain. The story begins in a little town of Rainbow Ridge in the 1800s. The time is the gold rush. And when the gold was discovered, the miners constructed a rail system to transport the gold. Unbeknownst to the settlers, the mountain was cursed by the spirit of Big Thunder. The spirits caused earthquakes and floods, destroying the mines and causing residents to flee. The town became deserted until years later when explorers found trains speeding through the mines with no passengers inside.
Uh-oh.
Whoa.
Now the railroad is open for thrill seekers who are willing to ride these possessed carts at their own risk. We are
I
all the
will.
thrill seekers.
Wow. Let's
We
go.
are the thrill seekers.
That's
Yay!
the new name of the podcast, The Thrill Seekers.
No,
Oh my
it's
God,
not.
that's a cool name. Thrill
Probably
seekers.
already taken though.
It is a cool name, but ours is better.
Ours is
That's
better.
true.
Ours is better.
That's
On
right.
the road with Brenda.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. On the road with Brenda.
Well, that's the short and sweet story of the original backstory.
Okay, what
Okay.
are the others?
Jordan, so my goodness gracious, you can get into the tall tales that the miners told, and I could literally go on forever.
That's about what I'm about to do with my final two. So,
Are you going on forever? Well, maybe I
yes.
Well,
can give you a little bit of the story. So, Big
okay.
Thunder Mountain Railroad dates back to the wild and woolly boom town days when every prospector west of the Rockies was looking for gold. The following is the tall tale heard tell by one of those prospectors who got it secondhand from old Sam, the last of the Big Thunder miners. Yes, sir, it's 1840, and around these parts things got pretty near quiet as the hanging tree on Sunday after Big Thunder Mine tapped out. One day, this is hard to read. One day there ain't none richer. The next, even a ghost wouldn't have much interest in her. Things got mighty busted up and rusted out down inside Big Thunder, so Sam told me while sucking from a dusty bottle of old Imagineer. He was the last prospector inside the mine. Fact is, poor old Sam took a spill and done landed belly up in one of them old carts. Next thing he knows, the car takes off like a skinny coyote after a plump hen.
Hmm.
Wow.
Off he went, heading for the mine. Seems like the old ghost mine came to life for Sam. He swears the rusted winch engine was a pumping and a wheezing, and just when he was thinking he must have bats in his belfry, there was bats. Then he sat up to see what he could see in the dark, and there was pools of rainbow water and waterfalls and plenty of them rocks in the shoal swarm, and stalactites and stalagmites. The walls of the canyon kept coming in closer and closer at old Sam, and he yelled until he couldn't yell no more. All of a sudden, the car thunders into a pitch, the ultimate gold strike to be his destiny, and that's why he is having so much trouble with Big Thunder Mountain. According to the superstitious locals, Big Thunder Mountain's are very protective of the gold it holds within, and the unfortunate soul who attempts to mine its riches is destined to fail. And so far, that prophecy is coming to pass. The mine has been plagued by mysterious forces and natural disasters ever since. And yet, the Big Thunder Mountain Company is still in operation. In fact, Bullion is discovering new veins of gold and digging new shafts every day, offering a closer look at the Big Thunder mining operation than before. But a word to the wise for anyone attempting to visit the mountain. Watch out for those runaway trains.
Wow.
The end.
Nice.
Read it again. Read it again.
No, we're not going to read it again. I have some information.
Good.
A little Grand Fiesta tour. Did you know?
Oh, did you know?
No, we didn't, and that's why I looked it up. The Grand Fiesta Tour's previous ride name was El Rio del Tiempo.
Forgot all about that.
And I'll tell you right now, Sophie never rode it.
Nope.
Neither did I don't think, although Cindy might beg to differ. She might say, yeah, we wrote it in the year 2000, but I don't remember it. And the reason Sophie never wrote it is because her first trip was 2004 or 2005, I mean. And then 2006 we went for it, and they did go to Epcot, but only to eat with the princesses in Norway. So then we hopped back over to the Magic Kingdom. Then in 2006 we went to the Magic Kingdom for a day. Her first real trip where we went into Epcot and did other parks was in 2007.
Ah.
Yeah.
So as long as your visit
was
was
already-
after they changed it.
It was already Grand Fiesta Tour in 2007. So
Very good.
So that answers that question. What was there before Grand Fiesta Tour starring the Three Caballeros?
Yeah.
All right. Your
And
turn.
that, I loved your story though, Brenda.
Wasn't my story. I just read it.
Well,
I
this
liked
is
it
true.
though.
I loved your accented interpretation of the story.
Thank you.
So my next attraction for my backstory is probably one of the ones that is an actual backstory. It might be the only one of my 5 that is an actual backstory. Anyway,
What
that
is
would
it?
be the Cali River Rapids.
Ah, nice.
So here's what's going on, okay? In the town of Anandapur, which lies on the Chakranadi River, and by the way, Chakranadi means river that flows in a circle. There is an operation, and they've been logging. There's been illegal logging going on, and it's damaging the environment. What are you doing? Because of this, Manisha Gurung, who is a local woman, started the Cali Rapids expedition. And her whole idea is, her goal is to show that there are more eco-friendly ways of creating income for the village. Instead of, doing the logging and destroying the ecosystem to raise revenue, you can do this instead, and you can raise revenue that way. So that's the backstory. The interesting tidbit about Cali River Rapids is that originally the name of the attraction was going to be Tiger Rapids Run.
Oh, wow.
And it
Oh.
would have included live animals, and it was intended to be a full-length Asian safari.
Oh, wow.
And so I think they decided against that because of Kilimanjaro safaris,
Yeah, I think that was a
and the
wise
influence
decision
that it has. So,
for
so
sure.
yeah, I think it was a hugely popular and wise decision.
Yeah.
Obviously, Cali River Rapids, of all the water rides in the four main parks, it is probably the one where you will get the most wet.
You can, yeah, for
And
sure.
if you enjoy getting soaked, if it's 187 degrees out, you want to ride it, you ride it, and you're dry in 5 minutes because it's so hot.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But you'll feel good when you're getting soaked.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but anyway,
Yay, good
that's
job.
my backstory for Cali River Rapids.
Good choice, Mike. Good
Thank
choice.
you. Thank
All
you.
right.
Sophie,
My turn.
It's your turn.
number 3.
Number 3, Expedition Everest.
Oh,
Nice.
nice. It's right
Yes.
next door practically to
Yes,
Nice.
it
Cali River
is.
Rapids.
It is, and there's a very special thing about it. So
Cool.
I actually found the official backstory for it, which compared to the top 2 rides on my list and why they take so long is because they don't have official backstories.
Oh,
But this one does. So that's why it's so hyped up and because I love Expedition Everest, so I'm going to talk about it.
Okay.
So, also, this is the ride that I'm talking about being a year older than Le Grand Fiesta Tour. It opened in 2006.
aha. Took
Yeah.
forever. We watched that sucker being built for 3 years.
Well, we
Goodness
didn't.
gracious.
We didn't.
It took forever.
Oh.
Well,
Worth
now it's
Well,
the
open,
wait, right?
Brenda.
Worth
It's
the
now
open
wait.
now. You can put the bitterness away.
yeah. And
Worth
listen to the story as if it's your first time writing it all over again.
Okay. My eyes are closed. I'm picturing it in my mind.
Yes, picture this, my blinded listeners. Brenda, close your eyes.
Sophie, keep yours open so you can rewrite what you wrote.
Yeah. You're walking through the remote village of Sarkazong in the fictional kingdom of Anandapur, which also has the Kali River Rapids in it, and
Yeah.
is located in the foothills of the Himalayas in northern India. Several village buildings that you pass that had been used by the Royal Anandapur Tea Company have been repurposed by businesses that send trekkers on various expeditions throughout these famous Himalayas. You are one of those trekkers, and you are going on the famous Expedition Everest, which is the name of a very specific trek arranged by the Himalayan Escapes Tour Company in Sarkazong. It will be taking you to Mount Everest, and you will be sponsored by the entrepreneurs behind the Himalayan Escapes, Norbu and Bob, which have repurposed a steam train, Darjeeling Corail, that previously had been used to bring harvested tea leaves down from the mountains. It's these trains that Expedition Everest trekkers board on their way to the base camp of Mount Everest, using a shortcut that passes through the Forbidden Mountain, thought to be guarded by the Yeti. Among local cultures, the Yeti is believed to be a fierce protector of the region's most pristine mountains, valleys, and forests, and violently opposes man's encroachment on these areas.
Mhm.
This, because you have gone through the line that it takes to get onto this train, which features the story of the legend of the Yeti for you to listen to, whether you're taking the long way around and get to see the shrine that was made for it, or you're taking the fast pass, shortcut, which has an abbreviated version.
Nice. Nice wordplay.
Very good.
Thank you.
Good
Yes.
job.
Don't go in the single rider line or you'll miss it all.
I mean, I'm still going in the single rider line anyway because I know what it means and I've heard it so many times. And me, I really want to see that temple that you pass through as you're going up into the mountain because that is the shrine where the Yeti was worshipped at as well.
That ride is awesome, right?
Yeah, it is.
I love
Oh,
Expedition
yeah, it is.
Everest.
So awesome. It's the
So,
bomb.
All
Yes.
right.
Very good. I visualized the whole thing.
I did
Yep.
too.
Yay.
I had my eyes open though, Sophie. Sorry.
Yeah, I saw, but I didn't want to say anything to kill the mood for someone who actually listens.
Yay.
Well, I'm your old man. I don't know how to listen.
Oh, come on. Well, my next one's short and sweet, but it's a cute story. And it's for my third choice is Prince Charming Regal Carousel.
Ooh.
So the short little backstory about this particular ride is that after the wedding, Cinderella and Prince Charming moved into Cinderella Castle. The prince decided he wanted to enter jousting tournaments, but he needed a little practice.
Hmm.
So on some land near the castle, he built a contraption that would help him train. It was a circular platform that held carved horses big enough to ride on. A trainee would sit on a wooden horse while the platform spun, allowing him to practice the ring spearing, one of the popular tournament events. In this event, a knight rides his horse as fast as he can and attempts to use his lance to spear a small ring hanging from a tree branch. The ring spearing event was known as carousel. Soon,
Oh.
everyone in the village noticed the prince's new toy. To give everyone a chance to experience it, Prince Charming built another carousel near to the castle. The new carousel was made to fit the splendor of the castle courtyard by decorating the horses with golden helmets and shields, flowers, and medallions. All the villagers are invited to take a spin on the carousel and enjoy a taste of the royal life.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
Nice.
Ta-da!
Good job,
I love the
Brenda.
carousel. I just love it. It's
Cindy
beautiful.
and I like riding the carousel.
It's
Cindy
beautiful.
loves the carousel ride too.
Yay, Cindy.
Yeah. I like it too. It's a part of my childhood.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's beautiful.
I mean, we would be at a shopping mall and it'd have a little carousel with two horses, and you
Yeah,
pay a quarter or something, and she would get on it, and we
yep,
would ride it and ride it and ride it and ride it and ride it.
yep.
And she
Fun.
loved it. You know, who doesn't when you're four? You know,
That's right.
Hmm.
That's right. I still
so
do that with the girls.
yeah,
Yay.
Oh,
simple
and by the way,
pleasures. Yeah.
it's something I forgot to mention about Expedition Everest, and I'm
Oh,
sorry. But it's also slightly related to my top two.
Okay. And what is it?
Okay, I'm done with that. You'll find out later. Your turn, Daddy.
Oh, okay.
uh-oh.
So she
A
left
little
us a
teaser.
tease.
Yeah.
It's something I just
Okay.
figure out right now.
Well, my next attraction, show, ride, Disney big time hit backstory is we're back to history 101. um, but I'm going to be talking about the Carousel of Progress. And, I think there's probably not a person around any of a certain age who does not know that the Carousel of Progress was originally designed for use during the 1964 New York World's Fair.
Hmm.
And it was featured at the General Electric Pavilion at the fair, and they personally asked Walt Disney himself to create a show for the pavilion. My understanding, and correct me if anyone knows differently, but my understanding is that during the World's Fair, the attraction was called Progress Land.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
it was multiple levels. Um, And after you saw the little bit of the show, like we're used to seeing with the Carousel of Progress, there was other levels that talked about General Electric's role in power throughout the years.
Really?
Yeah. So that to me was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it was called Progress Land. And after the fair was over, the attraction was put in place in Disneyland until 1973, where it was moved to Tomorrowland at Walt Disney World, and it opened on January 15th, 1975.
Wow.
Nice.
And um, it was officially renamed Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress in 1993.
Yay.
So, and we love the Carousel of Progress and we ride it. We see the show, I would guess, on any normal trip, probably half a dozen times.
Hmm.
you
So
know,
good.
because there's something just peaceful and calming about just seeing and checking it out and just going back in time, to those time periods,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so I don't think we'll ever get sick of it. And I know I have friends that it is their absolute favorite attraction. And the reason it's their favorite attraction is because it was their dad's favorite attraction at Disney.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
And so it really, it's like a memory, especially when their dad is gone right now.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
That would be a
Yeah.
so
great
that's a
memory.
lifeline back to those times. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the beauty of all these different stories and these rides, and that's what Disney really makes it. That's how it really,
Yeah.
is able to cement some long-term memories. I think um for us, looking back with Cindy and I and Sophie, being able to take her as often as we were able to is something that
Yeah.
we'll look back on years from now and we'll see a picture and it'll be so cool, and we'll just remember
Yeah.
the moment. So anyway,
Yep.
but Carousel of Progress is one of those classics that just really does it for me. So
Yep. Keeps
Yeah.
giving and giving and giving.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that is the Carousel of Progress. So,
Yay.
Sophie,
Great job.
Hmm.
I think we're going to keep going. We were talking, everyone, about maybe having to stop and pick
Yeah.
up our last two down the road. What do you girls think?
I think we should go for it.
Should we go
All
for it?
right. I'm
Yeah, because
about
Okay.
to
people
make.
could always pause it if they want to pause it and listen
Yeah.
to it in two parts.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
true. That's very
Exactly.
true.
Way to go, Brenda.
I don't know. I
Yay.
think I'm about to make this an hour and a half long.
Oh,
Okay.
she got some juicy stuff coming up here.
Tidbits coming. Tidbits.
Oh, I do. All
Oh,
right. So is it my turn?
it's your
Yeah.
turn, isn't it?
Yes. Behold, my top two. Drum roll, please. Dun da da da. The Jungle Cruise.
Oh, there she goes, the Jungle Cruise.
And this one is actually the lesser juicy of the two that I have as my top two, but it is still related to Expedition Everest, and you are about to find out why.
Awesome.
Tell me, does the organization known as the Society of Adventurers and Explorers ring a bell to you? Or Explorers and Adventurers? Sorry, I got those two mixed up.
Yeah.
Well, that society is very is a very key element to Expedition Everest and the Jungle Cruise, and my top pick, which I'm sure most of you already know what it is, and you're probably wondering, how on earth is that related to that ride?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to find out soon enough.
Okay.
And for now, I'm just going to call it C, because SEAC. So
There you
the
go.
C is a close affiliate of something known as the Jungle Navigation Company.
And
And
it's
that
also
company,
affiliated with Finding Nemo, isn't it?
not quite, but yes.
Okay. Sorry. Go on.
It is okay. And that company was founded in 1911. The Jungle Navigation Company, JNC, was founded in 1911 by Dr. Albert Falls, who funded many different jungle tour related attractions around the world, including the famous Jungle Cruise and Indiana Jones, the Temple of the Forbidden Eye, as well as different restaurants such as Skipper's Canteen and the Tropical Hideaway in Adventureland. Among its members include a Dr. Alberta Falls, who is Dr. Albert's granddaughter who succeeded him, the skippers on board the Jungle Cruise, and Trader Sam, who you can find near the end of the Jungle Cruise ride. The entire thing is set up to help encourage explorers and adventurers to follow their true calling and explore the jungles of the world and the major rivers in Africa, Asia, and South America, including the Amazon, the Nile, and many others.
Awesome.
Yes. And of course, this one does not have a lot to be shared, but that's because, well, my other ride has a lot to be shared. And of course, this is not an official backstory. It is the lore that I found while doing my research. But I think it's super cool how many of these rides are connected because the SEA, the C, is also a partner of the Anandapur Tea Company and the
Oh,
Himalayan Escapes Tour Company
oh
in
my.
Circazong.
Really?
Yes.
I'll be
Yes.
dang.
And
That is
I
cool.
didn't. Mm-hmm.
That is cool.
She's tying it all together over there.
I
I
am.
know.
It's a
Big old
whole
ribbon.
big,
I
yeah,
know.
You know what?
red ropes everywhere.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Everything's connected.
You know what I heard?
Yes. What?
Oh, what did you hear?
Grogu told me off camera. So it's just really his word and my word. But I believe him, you know? He told me that the Jungle Cruise is his absolute favorite attraction because of the
Hmm.
frogs he can get.
Oh, clever.
Oh, Grogu, what am I gonna do with
Clever.
you?
He is always looking for a snack.
Fine, fine. I'll get you a cookie when we're done here.
Well, you just made his day, honey.
Yay.
Anyway,
Okay.
that's just a sidebar note, okay?
Good job. Good job.
All right, Miss Brenda.
Well, my fourth one is Tom Sawyer Island.
Oh,
Can you
nice.
guess where the story came from?
No.
The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn.
Hey,
I
very
was thinking
good.
of that Rush song.
Oh,
Tom
today's
Sawyer.
Tom Sawyer's a mean, mean
Yeah.
pride. Awesome. That's a great song, Mike. That's a
Sophie
great
needs to
song.
go
Man,
YouTube it.
Rush. Man, Neil Peart was fantastic, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, have you ever seen that guy drum? His drum set turns a circle and he moves his seat. It's crazy. You need to see it if you haven't. Oh my God. Anyway, back to Tom Sawyer Island. If you have not visited the parks, or if you have visited the parks but have not gone to Tom Sawyer Island is a massive outdoor playground that pays homage to the adventurous title character of Mark Twain's 1876 literary masterpiece, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. Tom Sawyer Island harkens back to a simpler time of imagination and adventure. Its endless trails, dark caverns, and rustic structures offer guests a style of old-fashioned outdoor fun and things that many of us fondly remember from our childhood. The original version of Tom Sawyer Island opened at Disneyland in 1956. According to the Disney Company, the attraction was designed by Walt Disney himself.
Go
Sharing
figure.
Exactly. Sharing the strong affinity for the world Mark Twain created in his novels, Walt found himself unsatisfied with the island's original design. Days before construction was set to begin, he took the plans home and reimagined the landscape design, creating the inlets, coves, and overall shape of the island that it is known for today. Yay! And it opened at Magic Kingdom in May of 1973, May 20th, 1973 to be exact. And it's a lot of fun. Have you been over there lately?
No.
No, I haven't.
And most of
Love
the
it.
reason why is because of renovations. You
Yeah.
know, when we were there in November, the moat was drained for the work they were doing on the tracks for the Liberty Bell.
Yes.
And so that was really weird. Um, and if we'd have wanted to go, they might have let us walk across.
It might have. It might
But
have.
I wasn't about to go ask. So,
Well, and the backstory
Mm.
of Tom Sawyer Island isn't so much a backstory of the attraction, but for a backstory of the story of Tom Sawyer, I'll give you a little tidbit. Mark Twain was born Samuel Clemens in 1835 in Florida, Missouri. He grew up not too far away from a small town of Hannibal. From there, he would raft
Hmm.
over to islands in the Mississippi and watch as majestic steamboats paddled by. As a young man, he became a riverboat pilot, listening to the leadsman to sing out Mark Twain, which indicated the river measured 2 fathoms deep, making it safe to proceed. As a writer, his two most famous creations, Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, sprang from his boyish memories of life in the Mississippi. All the names on the island can be found in the literary classic Huckleberry Finn. So, when he was
Ooh.
watching those big riverboats go by, that's why you can now ride the riverboat all the way around Tom
mhm.
Sawyer Island.
Exactly.
Pretty cool.
That is super cool.
Nice.
So much to do over there.
Oh
The
yeah.
barrel bridges and all that.
Oh yeah. We
A lot of
loved it.
fun.
When
You can just
Sophie was
picnic over
younger,
there, take some
we
food
would
over there,
go over
picnic.
there. Yeah, we would go over there and hang out. And
Yeah.
I mean, you had no real timetable until it was time for them to close the island down for fireworks. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind
so
of fun taking the raft over there and taking
Oh,
the raft back. I mean, it's
mhm.
like, yesteryear. I like it. I like
I
things
the
did
like that.
barrel
too.
Nostalgic.
bridges.
Those are
The
fun.
barrel
The
bridges were
caves,
awesome.
the
Yeah.
Oh
caves,
yeah.
Caves.
The
the
Yeah.
caves, the
fort,
spooky lighting.
Yeah.
the fort. Yeah,
So much fun.
good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. All right,
That's it
Daddy.
for
What's
mine. My
All
number
right.
what's
4.
yours?
My fourth one is, and this has a Disneyland version,
Oh,
and I'm going to talk about the Walt Disney World version, I
okay.
think, predominantly. And it is the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Ooh.
And it
Ooh.
opened at Walt Disney World on December 15th, 1973. And originally, there wasn't going to be a of the Caribbean at Walt Disney World because the Imagineers thought that a pirate ride in Florida wouldn't be very interesting because of the state's history with pirates. But everyone that had been able to go to Disneyland
Yeah.
loved Pirates of the Caribbean, and they came back to Disney World expecting to see Pirates of the Caribbean, and it wasn't there. And they were like, "Whoa,
Oh.
Daddy, what is wrong with this picture?" And because there was such an uproar about where's the Pirates of the Caribbean, Disney added it because of that
Good
uproar.
job.
And that's why it didn't open until 1973, um, when the park, of course, opened in 1971. Um, some of the best parts of the ride at Disney World, to me, are actually in the queue. And I think one of the best parts of the queue the is the gag that Mark Davis did, where there's two pirate skeletons that are playing chess,
Mm-hmm.
and the chessboard, Sophie, is set up in a stalemate,
Mm-hmm.
and
Really?
they're trying to figure out exactly who is going to make the next move, and neither one of them can make a move because it would cause their side to lose. So they just sat there waiting and waiting and waiting for the next person to be able to move, and they sat there so long they died and they became skeletons. They've been sitting there
Wow.
since 1973. And actually, it was somewhat funny was that in a refurbishment period, when they were working on Pirates of the Caribbean, they had to move the board and the pieces got moved, and they were like, oh my gosh, how do we set it back
Oh
up?
no.
So they had to go back to Mark Davis's drawings
Oh wow.
to see how it was laid out so they
Wow.
could lay it out so it was still a stalemate.
Wow. Thank God they found something, because I was thinking, I bet nobody took a picture.
Yeah.
I mean, other
Oh,
people
that's
probably took
funny.
pictures, but you're
Yeah.
gonna find it. How are you gonna find it?
And
Oh,
then
wow.
in the original construction of the Disneyland ride, so it's kind of flipped back and forth a little bit. Um, you know how realistic the flames look when you're in the burning town. Okay. Um, well, we all know that that's not real flames, but when it first started and they were first open, there's a rumor that the Anaheim fire chief saw the flames and thought that they were real flames.
Wow.
And he was about to shut the ride down
Ooh,
until they
wow.
explained that no, it's not real flames. But out of that discussion they had with the fire chief, my understanding is that they actually developed some technologies to shut down the ride in the event of some sort of electrical issues, that would stop the ride to prevent a potential fire. So even out of that misunderstanding, they were able to develop some safety techniques
That's good.
and implement things that hadn't been implemented before. So it's kind of cool to me, that all that came about, out of a misunderstanding of thinking it was real flame. So, but
Wow.
that also
Awesome.
speaks to how cool the flames are that they thought they were real.
They are
Yeah.
amazing.
And there are well over 100 animatronics in the Pirates of the Caribbean. Um, and of course, everyone um, understands how big a concept the idea of audio animatronics were for making the rides really come alive, and not having to have a person there, doing the movements for everything. So
Or a
that
doggy.
was, yeah, or a dog, yeah. So 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 those sorts of things are what I got for Pirates of the Caribbean,
Very
and I'm sure
good.
there's a lot more that I missed on, but
Well, and you didn't cover this little bit of trivia, but I'm wondering if any of our listeners can help us out. I know for a fact, and I've seen him, that there is a pirate in the ride that has Sid Caesar's face. And that's because an Imagineer was a big Sid Caesar fan and
really,
literally created Sid Caesar's face on a pirate. Now, I
Wow.
think that when I saw it, I was on the Disneyland version, but I'm not positive. So I'm wondering if any of the listeners know if Sid Caesar Pirate is on the Disneyland ride or the
Hmm.
Disney World ride, the Walt Disney World ride. I think it's the Disneyland ride, but it's literally Sid Caesar. Do you know who Sid Caesar is,
Not
Sophie?
a clue.
Did you
I
ever
know.
see Grease? Did
No,
you
I
ever see
haven't.
Grease with John Travolta and
I
Olivia
know what it
Newton-John?
is, but I've never seen it.
I don't know what else you would have seen Sid Caesar in.
What character was he in Greece?
He was the coach.
Oh,
We're
I
gonna
don't
wreck
think I
him. We're
realized
gonna
that.
run around and all that stuff. Yeah, that's him. Anyway, I wonder if any of the listeners know for sure
Hmm.
if it's
I
in the
would bet
Disneyland
it's
or the Walt
probably
Disney
on the
World version.
Disneyland side because
I,
you
I
know
think it is, but I'm not positive.
some comparisons between the two rides is that the Disneyland ride is significantly longer.
That's true.
Yeah.
And maybe this adds into the backstory part. At Disneyland, you can watch them leave on the Pirates of the Caribbean from the Blue Bayou
Yeah.
while you're eating your dinner, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to eat at the Blue Bayou and why we had a reservation. And I loved my jambalaya I had there, by the way. But
Yum.
sidebar. But part of that is you're leaving from the bayou and you're getting into almost
Yeah.
like a time warp to take you to where the pirate action is.
Yeah.
And at Disney World, you don't have that need. So you don't have the time warp or the time that you need to get into the Caribbean part because you're already there. So
Yeah.
so the ride as a result is not as long. And of course, at Disneyland there's 2 drops as opposed to 1 at the Magic Kingdom, and that is because of, I'm trying to remember why, Brenda.
Because the train goes over it.
Over one of them,
The
but
train goes over Disneyland.
yeah, but is that why there's 2 drops though?
I think so. It had to go down lower, I think.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. I'm not positive. I think so.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But there's not much debate unless, you care to debate it, but just about everyone who's ridden both feels like the Disneyland one is better.
I do too. I totally agree with that.
So,
I also like
I
the
enjoy them
Disneyland one
both
because
though.
of the murals. I like the Disneyland one because of the murals and the queue.
Yeah.
There's
queue
this
is
one,
nice.
yeah, there's this one pirate in the queue, and his name is Gibbs.
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
So, and for those of you who don't know, my mom's maiden name is Gibbs.
Her last name is Gibbs because she's still a Gibbs.
Yeah, that's true, but it was her maiden name originally,
True.
so her
True.
her last name is Gibbs. So that means I could be related to a pirate.
Never know.
Could
Yep,
be.
we have the pirate Gibbs, and we also have Ellis Island.
Yep.
There you
and
go.
and don't forget, being here in North Carolina, we live in Raleigh, and we learned last week about how that's where Jeff Galloway is from. But
Yeah.
that's not the sidebar I'm going for. The sidebar I'm going for that relates to Pirates of the Caribbean is that in the town of Bath, North
Which my mom
Carolina,
was born in.
which mommy was born at, um, that town was the home of Blackbeard the pirate.
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah, when he would
Yep.
Wow.
come over, he would come and he would stop in Bath, and his name was
Wow.
William Teague. Is that what it is, Sophie?
Teach.
Teach.
Edward
Edward
Teach.
Teach. Yeah, Edward Teach. And that's his real name.
Wow.
And he had a house, and he had some sort of secret passageway, I think, that would get him to his ship. So if people were coming looking for him, he could escape to his ship
That's
and get out.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really cool. Really
Yeah,
cool.
really cool.
So there's the segue back to the Pirates of the Caribbean, and it's
Pretty
the
cool.
Pirates of Eastern North Carolina too.
There you go.
Yep.
Great
So,
job. Great story.
anyway, so that
Interesting.
takes us to our final entries in our Disney backstory.
Yeah.
Number 1.
Number
Numero
one.
uno, the one she is most hyped about.
Mhm.
Most hyped. It ties everything together. And who am I excited for it? And
Okay.
speaking of pirates, this one starts with a pirate. And
Oh,
the one I'm talking about, of course, before I get into anything, I'm talking about the Haunted Mansion.
yeah.
Now, what does that have to do with a pirate? Well, let me tell you. When
Oh,
the Haunted Mansion was being thought up and developed, it went through a series of changes to its backstory. But the but the original one revolved around the legend of Captain Gore. He was a pirate. but his wife did not know he was a pirate. Well, she found out eventually. And so because he couldn't have her reporting him to the authorities, he killed her.
Oh,
Nice.
God, I hate when that happens.
Yes.
That's rude.
It is
Yeah.
very rude,
How rude.
unfortunately. Yes.
Treasure Binks.
But she got the last laugh
Oh.
because although he killed her, she haunted him for the rest of his life as a spirit. And she was set to get her vengeance. She drove him to the point of, and trigger warning for those who are squeamish about it, she drove him to the point that he put a rope necklace around his neck,
Oh,
and you can still see him suspended from the rafters in the attic. Yes,
scary.
that
And
is the legend of Captain Gore.
And that ties the backstory with the pre-show, doesn't it, Soph?
It does, yes, because
Is that
everyone
him?
knows that could be him
It could be.
But
if
it
the
may not
story
be.
was accepted.
Oh.
Because
I'm
it wasn't
accepting it.
Well, Walt didn't accept it.
Uh-oh.
He's like, we need more. And so then afterwards came the writing of the tale of Bloodmere Manor. And this one is far less grim than the legend of Captain Gore. It is simply a decrepit house with more deaths, but deaths that are not so gruesome, although they are violent. They are not gone into detail, so we don't know exactly what they're about. But the spirits, they all haunt the same house that they lived in because that is what ties them together. However, the decrepit mansion was moved. It was moved to Disneyland in New Orleans Square, where it was restored. But the spirits moved with it, and now you have a house of 999 happy haunts ready to meet the new neighbors.
Mm-hmm. They got to put on a good face, don't they?
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Grim grinning ghosts come out to socialize.
Socialize. Yay.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And they
this
want to follow
story,
you home.
yes, they have to make sure that they come to meet your family, of course. They're the new
course.
neighbors. It would be rude if they never came out to play.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Now, this version was more widely accepted than the legend of Captain Gore, but Walt was still not completely satisfied with it.
Okay.
So in comes the story of Master Gracie. And for those of you who know about the Haunted Mansion movie, which is amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
Have you seen it, Brenda?
Yes.
I love that movie. I
I
think
love
it's
it
awesome.
too. It's
Oh, yeah.
great. It's really great.
Edward Gracie was the owner of the Haunted Mansion, and he had a lovely fiancée named Elizabeth. But then one night, before their wedding, might I add, Elizabeth was found dead in her rooms.
Uh-oh.
It was largely believed that she had committed suicide for some reason, and the butler, Ramsay, convinced him of this, that she would come back to him in some time in the form of a mortal woman and they would be together forever, thus keeping Master Gracie a ghost in the house, haunting it forever with Ramsay by his side. This, of course, is not true, however. Spoilers for the movie, which is where the tale truly gets fleshed out. Ramsay is the one that killed Elizabeth, and he tried to kill the mortal woman, I think Lisa, who looks just like her. But they are not the same person. However, his plot is uncovered by Lisa's husband, who comes to save his wife from dying a bride, and thus Ramsay is defeated, where he goes back to the afterlife, which he justly deserves, and the place down below. And Master Gracie, now content knowing that his bride did not in fact despise him and that she still loves him, joins her in paradise where he can finally move on. That is the story of Master Gracie. And the reason that he died is because he also hung himself from the rafters of the attic. Thus it is believed that Master Gracie, who is the first portrait in the Haunted Mansion that we see, he is the one that turns into the skeleton, is the one who we see in the gallery with no windows or doors hanging from the ceiling.
Oh,
So we think that's Master Gracie.
Yes.
You
And
know,
I accept that one.
I kind of do too, but if they really want to know, they should just climb up there and do a DNA check.
that's
Send it
right.
off to Ducky. He'll get Abby Shudo to look at it. Wait a minute, I'm going off on my own tangents here. Never mind.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, NCIS is an amazing show, and I implore you to go watch it if you're in for government-themed action.
Yeah, crime shows. But
Yes.
everyone has probably seen it, and it's pointed out by me because Gibbs is the character. And what's Mommy's last name, Sophie?
Gibbs.
So there you go.
There
Yet
you go.
another the 7 degrees of separation for Cindy.
That's right.
All
Anyway.
right.
Does she
Well,
end up with
anyway.
Kevin Bacon?
No.
And just
She
to be
ends up
clear,
with Mike Ellis.
this story of Master Gracie is one that I accept. However, it's not the only one that I accept, because it's clear that the mansion has seen many tales pass through its walls and its doors, if you're mortal and can't phase through objects. And so the one that I'm about to share with you is the one that I am the most hyped for, and is the one that ties everything together that I've been hinting at this entire episode.
Awesome.
And that is the story of Constance Hatchaway.
Mm-hmm. There
Oh.
she comes.
Yes.
The Black Widow Bride, which is actually I think she's the 4th rendition of the Bride in the Attic. There have been 3 predecessors before her, and an alternate one over in Phantom Manor in Disneyland Paris, but she's not actually connected to this ride. Constance Hatchaway, on the other hand, is the center of everything in this theory, and I love it. She has had 4 husbands in the past at the time of the story. But then she marries her 5th and final husband, and he is a man named George Hightower. He is the owner of the Haunted Mansion and her final husband. Now, George Hightower has family, of course he does. How else would he get all this money? But a specific relative of his, it goes by the name of Harrison Hightower III. Now,
Brenda,
Harrison is the
get
key.
ready.
Harrison is the key. He actually lives over in Japan, in Tokyo Disneyland, otherwise known as Disney
Oh.
Sea, which is a specific park in Tokyo Disneyland. And there he owns
SEA.
that's
Wow.
actually not the correlation that I was going to make between it, but I love the detail that you guys noticed.
That Dad noticed.
Yes. But rather, he owns a lavish hotel in Tokyo Disney Sea, and that is called the Hotel Hightower, otherwise known as Japan's version of the Tower of Terror. More importantly, the reason that I'm so focused on him is because he is a member of SEA, the Society of Explorers and Adventurers.
Oh my goodness gracious.
And he is a peer to a Mr. Henry Mystic, who owns Mystic Manor, which is the Haunted Mansion attraction in Hong Kong Disneyland.
Goodness.
It is all connected, my friends. We have SEA in Japan, in Florida, in China. It's everywhere. And all of these rides are connected, and I love it so much.
Cool. Very cool.
Yes, and that is what has me so hyped up. I hope you guys are as hyped up as I am and that your mind is blown.
My mind's blown.
Yeah.
Boom. Drop the Mike, we're done
That's right.
recording.
Drop the mic. She's done.
See you next week. Wait, you guys still need to go.
Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Brenda and I have to go.
Yeah, I know.
Oh God, we should have redone the order. We should have redone our order.
It ended with
So it would
Sophie.
have ended with Sophie. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Mike Ellis running his amateur hour.
Oh, come on.
And see, look, we're at an hour and 18 minutes now. I told you guys I was going to get this to an hour and a half.
Uh-huh. All right. Well, now it's
So your turn.
Brenda's turn.
It is my turn. It's my final one, and it's a small world.
It's a small world
It's-
after all.
That's right. So I will give you now there's not a backstory. There's more of a history story like what Mike's been having with a lot of his tonight. So this one is the same. It was in 1963. WED Enterprises was knee deep in projects not only for Disneyland, but pavilions for the 1964-65 World's Fair in New York. They were working on Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln for the State of Illinois Pavilion, Magic Skyway for Ford, and the Carousel of Progress for General Electric. PepsiCo approached Disney to create an attraction for their pavilion that would benefit UNICEF. And it was called UNICEF Salutes the Children of the World. That was what their pavilion was called. So numerous people told Walt to turn it down because he was like already knee deep in projects, but he accepted it anyway. And the World's Fair theme was peace through understanding, and Walt had an increased affinity for international culture and affairs. The working title became Children of the World, which helped set the stage for what the attraction would become. So they ended up getting Mary Blair to be the designer. You know, she's awesome. She worked in Alice in Wonderland and Peter Pan and Cinderella. She designed the dolls, the set, and the color palettes for the ride. These elements gave the other designers a visual of what to create in three-dimensional form. For the dolls, she designed over 350 different dolls from 26 different countries and regions.
Wow.
Man.
That
Disney
is
sculptor Blaine Gibson and designer Harriet Burns were tasked to create the dolls based off of Mary's designs. To make things simpler, given their limited time frame, they made one model of a head that was unisex and simplistic. The heads could be modified with different pigments for different skin tones. Since these dolls were to represent children, they could be made simplistic while enhanced with costuming to showcase their native lands and genders. With many details for the attraction underway, the next part became the actual track itself. Claude Coates was brought in to design the ride layout as the building had been constructed long before Disney signed to create the attraction. This meant they had to work out this L-shaped building and try to make the ride as cohesive as possible with that limited space. A mock-up of the attraction was built on stage one at Disney Studios, and the designers would push Walt around in a boat so he could see how it would look. For the most part, everything was coming together except for one major component. Walt had wanted the national anthems of the different countries sung by the children. Yep.
Good luck.
Exactly. So the problem was that once the writers moved from one room to the next, they would hear a cacophony of anthems that didn't blend together. The attraction sounded terrible, much to Walt's chagrin. That's when he knew he had to call upon his studio music team, the Sherman
Brothers.
Awesome Sherman Brothers. Walt wanted a song that was innocent and sweet, appealed to both children and adults, and fit the theme, peace through understanding. Still, the idea was to somehow intertwine the countries and regions into the song, all while making it cohesive. The Sherman Brothers came up with It's a Small World. They came up with 3 songs, actually. They played the first one for him, It's a Small World. It had a sweet and catchy melody, and the lyrics could be easily translated into other languages for the different regions. It was exactly what Walt had wanted, so he didn't even want to hear the other 2 songs at all. He chose that one.
What were they? Do you know?
No, he never heard them. No. To intertwine international flair with the Sherman Brothers tune, Bobby Hammock was brought in to help arrange the song. In order to fit the musicality of the different countries, he added specific instruments and tones from the international regions. The three also created an arrangement that could play in the courtyard outside the attraction as an overture to the show inside. What's funny is that the Sherman Brothers didn't think the song would last longer than the World's Fair. Little did they know.
Yeah, exactly.
Little did they know.
Little did they know. So Richard Sherman, when he was asked about the song, said, "People think this is a little novelty. This is a prayer for peace. We have to learn to live together and respect each other, or we're going to blow each other up."
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if people acted like that song?
Yeah.
While it may not have been commissioned for a theme park, the original It's a Small World attraction can be enjoyed at Disneyland Resort in Anaheim, California. Other Small World attractions have been installed at the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World, as well as Disneyland Paris, Tokyo Disney Resort, and Hong Kong Disneyland. Shanghai Disney Resort is the only Disney resort that does not give its guests a chance to hop aboard the happiest cruise that ever sailed.
Oh, wow.
Such a great job, Brenda. Great job. Woohoo.
Love that ride.
Both of you. I'm impressed with both of y'all.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here looking
I didn't
pretty,
even
and that's
make
all
the
I'm doing.
ride.
So
I didn't make the ride, but I can sure enjoy it, huh? We can all
that's
enjoy
right.
it
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it is a small world after all.
Yep. It sure is. So I'm closing us out, huh?
Yes,
Yeah.
you are.
You know, I started with the Disneyland Railroad, and I'm going to end with the Walt Disney World Railroad.
Well, there you go.
And to
Full
me,
circle.
it's just because I love railroads so much. So
Yeah.
the Walt Disney World Railroad opened on opening day, which is October 1, 1971.
Yay.
We are getting real close to the 50th anniversary of the Walt Disney World Railroad.
We
Um,
are.
Development was overseen by Roger E. Brogy, who also supervised the building of the Disneyland Railroad.
Yay.
And
Wow.
if you look at my image,
Nice.
that
There's
is
the
the
bogey.
Roger Brogy train.
Oh my gosh, I
Nice.
feel so bad. I still haven't found that train book.
Oh, we're gonna find it. We've been busy, so but it's in our house. Don't you worry.
Nice.
Yeah.
There are 4 locomotives. There's 5 at Disneyland. There's 4 here at Walt Disney World. The first locomotive is the Walter E. Disney, and it is the Walt Disney World Railroad's tallest locomotive at 11 feet 11 inches tall, and that gives it a grand total of 1 inch clearance between the top of its smokestack and the top of the roundhouse doors.
Wow.
It entered service on October 1, 1971. The second locomotive, I should say, is the Lily Bell. Totally makes sense. Walter
Yep.
and Lily. And it entered service on October 1, 1971 as well. The third train is the Roger E. Brogy. And the story is that originally the third train was going to be the Roy O. Disney locomotive, but it is nearly identical to the locomotive from that the Walter Disney one is, Walter E. Disney is. And because of that, Roy did not want his name on a train, on a locomotive that was nearly identical to what his brother's was. So,
Sounds like him.
yeah, it does. So they put Roger E. Brogy on the third train. It also entered service on October 1, 1971. And the fourth train, of course, the fourth locomotive is the Roy O. Disney. It had a mechanical issue that needed to be solved. And as a result, it needed about 2 more months. So it did not enter service until December 1, 1971. What's really cool about the locomotives and the trains, the railroads, is how you can in a normal attraction, you get on the attraction. Let's say we're doing the Carousel of Progress. We sit down, we go through the attraction, we
Yeah.
get up and we leave.
Yeah.
You know, on the railroads, when you get on it, if you want to do a whole loop, you do a whole loop. If you
Yeah.
don't want to get off at the end of that loop, you just stay on it. You keep doing it again.
Yeah.
There is no one saying, "Hey, kid, get off."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until, of course, it's the end of the day, and then they would say, "Kid, get off,"
Yeah.
and I'd be like,
Yeah.
but."
Yeah. That's a good
So
thing, though. You can stay on it forever if you
you
want.
can ride it and just relax and just take yourself back in time, and that's what the Disneyland and the Walt Disney World Railroads do for me is they take me back in time to that era when steam locomotives and train travel was what you did.
Yeah.
You didn't
Yeah.
fly from Florida to LA in 5 hours like you do now. You know,
Yep.
Yeah.
you took the train or you drove. If you were lucky, you took the train and and it was a big time adventure, and it still took you 3 days to get there. Um,
Mhm.
so anyway, that's to me is what the beauty
Nice.
of the railroads are is you're going back in time to that era, you know. So and I think at the end of the day, when it comes to Disney, that's what I'm all about is remembering the childhood memories, and remembering
Yeah.
those things that get so overlooked in today's hectic pace, and the busyness of the world and everything like that. So that's why we love going to Walt Disney World and going to
Yeah.
Disneyland is because
Yes.
it takes us back to when we were kids.
That's
Mhm.
right.
So,
Yay. Good
well,
job.
you
I
know,
loved that. That was a great one.
Yep.
that was a great episode, and I am kudos to Sophie and kudos to Brenda for your backstories.
And you.
Girls knocked it
Mhm.
out,
Thank you.
and
Thank
I
you.
love what I said, but I loved listening to your guys' stuff.
We
Yay.
liked listening to yours too. It was
Yeah.
good.
Thank you.
Yep.
Well, that wraps up our feature topic, and
Yay.
that takes us to this day in Disney history. Sophie, what do you got for July 19th?
July 19th. Well, I've got one, but it's huge.
Ooh.
Huge with a capital
Nine.
huge?
Yeah.
Yes. 1989.
Ooh.
It's even more huge than the lore that I gave us today. 1989, July 19th. Walt's 9 Old Men and Oob Iwerks are inducted Disney Legends.
Yay.
The
Nice.
ceremony is held at the Disney Legends Promenade, the sidewalk area in front of the Disney Studio Theater, with Michael Eisner and Roy E. Disney presenting.
Nice.
Nice. And you know what, Sophie?
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations and happy anniversary to them
Yeah.
on the day they entered the Legends program. And
So
you're
deserved.
absolutely right, Sophie, because without those men and the work they did, these backstories probably don't exist.
Oh no,
You
probably
know?
not.
Yeah.
So
Thank
great
God Walt
job.
had them. Goodness gracious.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yay. Great
Is that all
job.
you got, Sophie? You don't have anything
Yay.
else?
You're bad. You're bad.
Well, it's my turn now, isn't it?
It
Yeah.
is. And I'm going to win this.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
I have no doubt. I have no doubt.
No stumping the
Yes,
soap today.
but now
Yours?
I'm going to win it out of spite because you said that my Disney history was not much.
Well, this
He
is
was just
easy
teasing you.
peasy, and I was just teasing exactly. This is easy peasy. and I'll be sad if you don't get this.
Hmm.
This character is a little girl with a big imagination.
Okay.
She is incredibly curious.
All right.
She was she is incredibly proper and well spoken.
Jane from Tarzan.
No. And she was raised in Victorian England.
Jane from Tarzan.
No. Brenda, you got any guess?
All I had was either Pollyanna or Anastasia. That's all I could think of.
No. I'm surprised.
How old is she when you say a little girl? How old is she?
Oh, I don't know. I have no
Oh,
idea.
well, that's not helpful.
Victorian England.
Victorian England.
Big imagination. Big is in the text. Big is
Alice? Was it Alice from Wonderland?
Alice.
it is Alice.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I didn't know where she was from. I didn't snap to where she was from. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
wow. You're right.
Wow.
Curious. I should have gotten that. Oh.
Wow.
That's okay. It's okay. I have some. Did you know?
Yeah.
Alice most likely comes from a wealthy family as she references the privileges of the upper class. And Alice's name means noble and kind.
Aw.
Hmm. I think that suits her.
I think it does too.
Yep.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't think it was going to be that hard.
Hmm.
Wow.
Oh, well.
Pretty
You
good.
know
Pretty
what?
good.
Every now and again, it just means you start your next streak of 100 in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So that is our Stump the Soph session.
Stump the Soph session.
Yep.
All right. Well, now you ready for a little bit of Walt?
We need a little bit
Yes,
of Walt.
please.
All right. Well, here is my Walt Disney quote for today. I believe firmly in the efficacy of religion, in its powerful influence on a person's whole life. It helps immeasurably to meet the storms and stress of life and keep you attuned to the divine inspiration. Without inspiration, we would perish.
Yeah.
Walt Disney.
Walt Disney.
Yes.
Yep. I think this quote played a lot into everything we enjoy today
Yeah.
at
Mhm.
Disney.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it did too.
Helps immeasurably to meet the storms and stress of life. So does visiting our happy place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So
Yep.
I've got a topic idea
Oh,
that was suggested to me from the lovely and talented Cindy, also known
oh,
as my wife and Sophie's mom.
yeah.
Cindy Gibbs.
And she called it the Super Six. And I
Mhm.
think originally I had written down one each week. Um, the Super Six to Cindy is Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, Pluto, and Daisy. And what we thought would be fun is if each of us take a character and document him and talk more about him and
Or
why
her.
we like him and everything like that, or her, and really give some stories about our backstory, our own backstories with the characters, kind of thing. What do
Hmm.
you think? What do you think?
I think that's a good idea.
Brenda, what do you think?
That's a good idea.
Good, because I asked on air, so it'd be, if you were like, I hate it, then this would be really weird.
That would be terrible.
So, I think we'll do this in 2 parts, okay?
All right.
We'll each take 2. We'll talk about 1 this next week. Each of us talk about 1 next week and 1 the following week. Sound good?
Yay!
Yep.
I love topics that span multiple weeks.
Okay, so who wants which character for next week?
Donald.
Brenda, speak up. Donald for Sophie.
You know who I want, but who I want is who you want, Mike.
You tell me who you want.
Well,
She wants Mickey, Daddy.
I do.
I want
but
her to
know
have
you
Mickey.
want Mickey.
No, you have Mickey.
Are
And
you
I'll
sure?
Yeah, and I'll take Minnie.
Okay. Are you
All
sure?
right.
I am positive.
Okay.
I'm
I
positive
love
because you know me. Even if it's your character, I'm going to inject my own brand into it.
That's true. That's good. That's good.
True.
That's
Can't
good.
keep Daddy from Mickey for too
I
long.
know. Yeah.
All right.
All right, so
Well, that
Sophie's
is
talking
settled.
about Donald, Brenda's talking about Mickey, and I am talking about Minnie. So
Awesome.
bring your A games next week, and everyone, thank you for joining us. We had a lot of fun with this episode, and we hope you enjoyed it as much as we did presenting it. And I look forward to next week.
Yay.
The Super
All
6,
right.
Part 1.
That's nice. I like that a lot.
So have a great week, and we will
See
see you on the road.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.